Grassroots Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification button, be notified for our latest and greatest episodes, as well as make sure you get in tune, get down, join our Discord, where we talk about stocks, gaming, culture, everything in between. I'm one of the hosts of the show, Brandon Killabh Hall,
I'm Wylson.
I'm Jeff.
and we have Chris Bobs. We have a full house. There's a lot of people here.
All except for regular Nas. He's going
yeah,
to be out today.
yeah. Nas is out today. Nas is on vacation, and like he'll be back. He's on vacation. He'll be back. He's chilling. Um, all right. So I knew that this would happen. I knew that this would happen on this show. I was dreading recording this episode for the obvious reasons of Earl Simmons, DMX, but then on it just everything happening in the world. But I want to start with DMX. So, like most know, over the weekend, news broke that DMX had sustained a overdose, which led to him, I believe, being in cardiac arrest, or went into cardiac arrest, I should say. From there, he was put on life support for the pretty much the majority of the entire weekend. And then came out Sunday night that or Saturday night, I should say, that he was losing brain capacity, brain functions, things of that nature, which then led to his family needing to make one of the most difficult decisions that most people ever have to make in that situation. And obviously we lost a huge I don't like huge force. I'll say a huge. I don't. I'm honestly at a loss for words. It's hard for me to talk about this particular artist just because, like most, I grew up on him. I'm very much an '80s baby. I came up uh, around DMX. I listened to him before every basketball game, before every baseball game, before every boxing match, before every uh, just any sporting event. His story resonated with me. He again was one of those artists that was believable. That just you could see that he was one of the people that wore not only his heart on his sleeve, but his addiction on the sleeve, and even down to his last interviews, you can see where he was still battling with it, and still just with sheer grace, and still just dropping nothing but just wisdom. So I definitely want to pay homage to the great DMX. I'm happy he's in peace. I'm sure he's up there with the rest of the legends. And I want to send his loved ones, friends, family members, supporters, and everything in between, just massive amounts of love. And I guess I'll open it up to you guys, and how you guys feel and how you're
Well,
holding up with it.
DMX was a polarizing figure. He was, I'm pretty sure he was a part of all of our childhoods growing up. One of my friends was so devastated by the news, he actually left work.
Yeah.
He was devastated. I'm pretty sure he also just wanted to leave work, but you know what I'm saying? The fact that he actually did it, that really says something. I mean, he's going to be missed, man. I saw a dope picture of like him, Tupac, Biggie Smalls, Nipsey all jumping the devil or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of
Pretty cool little picture.
Yeah, pics. I mean, I don't know. I'm just happy. I hope. I know that at in Yonkers they're talking about honoring him some way, shape, form, or fashion, be it either a statue or name a street after him.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's going to be a plethora of other things that are going to come out to try to you know just put a real emphasis on the stamp that he's made in just most people's lives, not even musically. Like if you just see, like, did you guys see the clip of Swiss when he was talking about him? Like he was just trying to hold it together. He was saying like he was like no one knew him the way that they knew him. Like he was a true prophet. Like he lived his life just literally trying to serve people, even with all of his demons, all of the good, the bad. Every day he woke up like, okay, let me figure out a way to just help people.
I mean, Swiss held him down through it all, from
Yeah.
when he was hot, from when he was cold.
Mhm.
Every time Swiss always showed up. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would put him out, put new music out with him, everything. Swiss never, backed off.
Yeah.
And that statue better be fire.
Listen,
They better not have my man out there looking like
looking kind of crazy. I'm feeling you.
yeah,
It better not be like a Bizarro DMX.
looking like
Like,
Junebug.
yeah, yeah, word. It they better have him looking good, man. They better have him
No
looking good.
disrespect to Junebug. I'm just saying you don't look like
Yeah,
DMX. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Word. You got to say that these days now. Shit. Everything
That's
you
all I'm
say.
saying.
Yeah. We're not disingenuous. We just saying we want X to look good on that statue. That's all. Um, but yeah, that's it. I don't want to harp too much on it. I'm already really, really sad about it. I've been sad about it. I don't know how long I'll be sad about it. So, and the fucked up part is, for me again, I used to just listen to X's music, so now it's again another person that's going to be difficult to listen to. I just add it to the list now, so
See,
whatever.
see
But
now the one thing that scares me though about this story is the stories that are probably gonna come out like this week. Cause I find the media to be in this day and age very quiet about like any details on it or anything like that. And that's a little bit unusual. I think that's how it should be,
yeah.
but it's pretty unusual for today.
Hmm.
Would you agree? My
Well, elaborate. What do you mean? Like, give an
like
example.
like I don't know, because have you noticed that you haven't heard any details on this? You just hear them say, "Oh, he OD'd," but there's no story behind it. Like
I
if you look at like when Mac Miller had OD'd, like
so
right away they were telling you, "Oh, he was in the prayer position." Like there was all types of details, but with this one, there's none. So I'm
so
kind of I'm kind of wondering like what they're gonna come with in the
so
next couple weeks.
yeah. So let me start. All right. So how I saw it, and just from I see it from a few different perspectives, right? First, I see it from a medical perspective as well as from a HIPAA perspective. So like most people don't know, there's something called the HIPAA law. It protects the patient confidentiality. That could be your medical history. It protects everything, right? So that's one aspect. Then there's the aspect of the family confidentiality. I'm sure on whoever owns X's estate, I'm sure that there was some sort of contingency put in place that would protect his legacy should something like this happen, or if he obviously reached his untimely demise.
I don't know.
Um,
I ain't never seen TMZ respect the hippopotamus law. I ain't never see that.
nah,
Or 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 respect the family's wishes or doctors or nothing. TMZ's
true.
No,
normally
I think
Yeah,
the difference is that if he relapsed, he went back to crack. So it's not like there's this huge trail of people for them to go search for where Mac was doing pills and they were provided
yeah.
by somebody. And
mm,
That's my other thing. I think most media outlets, um they didn't give details even if they knew the details, just simply out of the fact that this wasn't something, or shouldn't be something that you should have capitalized on for gain, for media purposes, or for from the news,
that's from the stance
for
of a
most.
decent person though.
Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
We're talking about the media.
The New
no,
York
no, but
Post definitely showed their ass.
well,
That
yeah,
was
hold on. Yeah, we're gonna, yeah, you can talk about that in a second, Jeff, because we can definitely go into that. But I think about also the medical aspect of it. There's a lot that happens there. Like I was telling a bunch of people. Even I posted a picture where a few people hit me. It was like, yo, why are you spreading you know false news? And I'm saying that again, if you know anything about what happens to the body when the body goes into cardiac arrest, or when the body is, for lack of a better word, under for X amount of time, the trauma that happens to the body in that time, it could be 15 minutes. I look at it like, um when they say you travel to the moon, you travel out of space out, it could be like a month here, but obviously when you're in space, it's like 4 years or whatever the difference is in time. I look at that almost similar to when the body is under sedative uh, constraints, or just being held up or supported by life support. So during that time, when your body is being supported by a machine, like life support and stuff like that, your body still is taking trauma. So as the reports come out where he's saying, they're saying, hey, look, it's not really looking good, and he's losing brain functions. I said this to a few of you guys, and I said, yes, this is not going to be good. Like my transparently again, my uncle just literally collapsed under some of those same constraints, not obviously from an overdose, but knowing what that does to the body, knowing what it does to the mind, even if X would have been back the way that he was, he wouldn't have been his true self, right? Like he would have had some sort of deformity, maybe the left side of his face, something like that, right? But I say all that to say that because of that, and because I'm sure that it's just a sensitive time for everyone, and because of the fact that you want to send him to grace. If anyone deserved to be sent to grace more than anyone else, to me, would be X, just sheerly off of his struggles. I think most people, even when a lot of those false uh, confirmations came out, that saying that he had passed early, way early on, a lot of people just wanted to let it, they just wanted to have hope. You know what I mean? Like I think most people wanted to have hope, but on top of it, I just think that as the stories come out, Wilson's point, that you're going to start to see a different reaction to those stories. Like I don't think this is the normal act or person or celebrity that passes away that you want to make up, arbitrary stories about, like he owed money or whatever. I don't think you would want to play with this one. There's too much love out there for him. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And I know that's a long spiel. Does that make sense what I'm saying? But
Yeah, I'm with you.
that's just what I think about it. I think I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just a fucking crazy thing to think about. But I don't know.
I guess to add to that, I'm glad that we got to see DMX one last time in when he was so full of life and his battle with Snoop in the verses.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, like the news hit me hard, and I just automatically went back to that video, and it was just good to see him being celebrated like that.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. Well said. Well said.
Did anybody go back and watch some of his movies,
Yeah, I
like
saw
Cradle to Grave?
yes, I saw Belly over this past weekend.
I mean, I watch Belly religiously, even though I know we always kill Belly, but Belly for me again, that movie was shot around the corner from where I grew up. Like, it's a classic movie. I'll forever watch Belly. I'll forever watch Backstage. I'll forever watch just those iconic movies that he was in, just because, at least it showed his genius. Someone else compared it like that was another generational Pac, one of the best storytellers of our time, and I truly believe that. I don't think DMX gets enough credit for his storytelling ability, for real, for real. And if you don't believe me, just listen to Crime Stories off his first album. There's a bunch of different albums that I can give you where there's just different stories. Like he was different. He literally was not the best rapper. Was not the you didn't. He was just sheer energy, sheer passion, sheer aggression, sheer artistry. So, uh, but I don't know. And then obviously with the New York Post and all that other stuff, as much as I want to kind of kill them, you got to let the to X's point, if you see people for who they are, uh and so for the New York Post and all of those other different media outlets that took the time and thought this was a great opportunity to post just crazy stories about X. I mean, again, hopefully they'll sleep at night, or figure out a way to, once it resonates with what they've done. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I see it. And then we have other news to talk about, right? You guys saw the trending video that occurred over the weekend with the lieutenant that was pulled over by two police officers at a gas station. Um, to the fans and viewership. So over the weekend, what city did that happen? And I want to give accurate information. Well, you guys tell me the city after while I tell the story. So long story short, Lieutenant was driving. I guess I don't know what city at this point, but he was driving and was pulled over at a gas station where two officers pulled over and asked the lieutenant to get out of the vehicle. At the time, they didn't know he was a lieutenant, by the way, and that happened in Norfolk, Virginia. Thanks, Chris, where this took place. So as he is at his vehicle, the officers approach. They give him two commands to come out the car. The gentleman says, "Hey, listen, my hands are out the vehicle. I just want to know what's going on, why I'm being stopped." One of the officers, the more aggressive officer in the video, which I'm sure we'll put some sort of B-roll in the video for this. You'll see him talking to him, pretty much saying, "Hey, get out the car." Long story short, uh, as they start to exchange back and forth, the gentleman that was pulled over in the car, he explains, "Hey, listen, I'm a lieutenant in the army. You're asking me to get out of the car off of a stop. That's not lawful. You can't open my door. You can't do all of these things that you're trying to do to me. I just want to know what's happening. Can you just talk to me? I'm not a threat." The gentleman was very, very calm speaking to the officer. The officer then said, "Listen, get out the car." Again, the lieutenant said, "Well, listen, if I'm being honest with you, I'm scared. I'm scared to get out of the car. I don't know what's happening, you guys." And immediately the officer, the aggressive officer, responds and says to him, "You should be scared to get out the car. Now get out the car." The lieutenant responds saying, "Hey, okay, I want to reach for my seatbelt but I don't know what's happening here." In the midst of that, the officer then maces the lieutenant. The lieutenant, obviously being completely caught off guard, tries to block and says, "Hey, don't do that," to the point where he's now just sprayed in his face to where he can't breathe. The officer saying, "Hey, look, this is completely fucked up. I'm a lieutenant and I'm actively serving, and this is what you're doing to me." The officer then replies to him, "Oh, you're a lieutenant. What are you? What are you?" And he says, "Listen, I'm a lieutenant." He says, "You're a lieutenant. Oh, okay. Well, get out the car and get on the ground." The lieutenant then replies, and to the point where he doesn't even know what he's doing, where he just says, "Listen, I give up. Just open the door." You can see where his face is completely red. He's having a hard time breathing. He's also, sitting here telling these and pleading for not only his life, but his service dog's life in the back of his truck. He's saying to him, "Hey, my dog is choking. This is a huge mistake, guys. Please just stop. Can we just have a conversation? I don't know what I'm being pulled over for. I don't know what is happening." The officers then still make him unstrap his seatbelt and then commits to wrestle him down to the ground while he still has his hands in the air and just saying, "Hey, listen, I don't want to talk to any of you anymore. I just want the commanding officer," where they then still rough him up on the ground, where he just breaks down in tears. And just it's it's one of the most heartbreaking things that you have to see, not only for the simple fact of this gentleman. I'll even remove race, right? Because I know a lot of people want to factor that into it, right? Let's remove race for this from this. Yo, the fact that this man is a fucking lieutenant in whatever branch of government that he's in, you see his suit, you see his credentials, you see that he's not a threat. Did you guys watch the video? He was calm. He wasn't a threat. He wasn't cursing. He wasn't telling the cops that they were pigs. He wasn't saying any of the things that normally trigger cops to just be aggressive, to invoke some sort of violence. He wasn't even a big man. He wasn't menacing. He was doing none of the sort, but trying to have a decent conversation with what he thought would be people that he could have a decent conversation with, considering they should be standing for the same things, which should be protecting people.
Well, that's why you can never take race out of it, not even in a hypothetical situation, because race answers all of that.
Well, hold on. We're not getting there yet. We're gonna get to that, right? But the fact that you got to look at how branches of government, like military, like a lieutenant, is treated, like that. The fact that that man risks his life every day, even for those cops, even for us, right? But to the fact that it's almost, I looked at that video like those cops didn't even have respect for our own government. You know what I mean? Like the protocol of it, the protocol of stopping someone, the protocol of actually listening to what's happening. No, at no point in that video did they ever tell him why he needed to get out his car, why they were forcing him to open his door, even after showing him all these different things. But aside from all of that, the fact that you have an active military lieutenant on the ground, and at no point did he posed some sort of a threat to where you guys had your guns drawn to him. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, speaking of different police officers, a lot of them said, "Hey, listen, uh, he gave it. The officers gave a direct command. He was supposed to follow it, and technically speaking, it was proper use of pepper spray to it's the most non-lethal way to de-escalate, and this is verbatim what I was told. It's the most non-lethal way to de-escalate uh an assailant, air quote assailant, that is resisting arrest.
So can I put something in here? The resisting arrest part comes from the fact that they said that they want to pull him over, and instead of him pulling over, he put on his emergency lights and drove for an additional 100 seconds so that he could get to a well-lit gas station, which they tell you as a person who is driving, no matter what, you are allowed to do. So he went to a well-lit gas station, but at that point, it looks as though he's resisting, but he also drove under the speed limit the entire time to acknowledge that he was being pulled over.
So that was the other thing I wanted to say. Thank you for that, Tone. That was the other piece of it. I don't, and I understand. I understand how law works. I understand that you obviously have to follow protocol when you're given commands from police officers, right? But again, I've been taught that exact same thing. You get pulled over, keep your hands on the wheel, light up the car, roll the windows down, make sure that you're not even looking, man. Like, these are things that you're told to do, right? I'm posing this to just us. Do we think, and then I want to circle back to Wilson's point. Do we think that just the top layer, because I don't want to go with race, I want to just go with right and wrong. Do we think that this was the right way to handle this from an officer perspective, and even down to the lieutenant's perspective? Because I can put some blame on the lieutenant. I could. There's a few ways where I could have said, well, hey, I know that you have your rights, and I know that you are especially actively serving, so I'm sure you're well aware. But just for me, I look at it like, when it gets to a certain point and you're not getting through to these gentlemen, all right, maybe you just need to go through and just wait and just sit it out. You would kind of win this one. But on the flip side, I look at it differently. So what do you guys think?
So when I was younger, my mom dated a cop. And that cop taught me that if you're ever going to do something that's against a police officer's wishes, to be very vocal with it. So the mistake I think he made was, obviously it was probably intelligent for him to go to the well-lit gas station. It's 2021 now, but it was 2020 then. He easily could have called dispatch and said, hey, I'm just driving to a well-lit area. My name is so-and-so. These are my credentials. But instead, now you have an unmarked car that's heavily tinted with a dog in it, driving an additional mile or 2 miles, whatever it was. These cops at night are probably not going to take this in the same light that they would during the day. If he would have just pulled over, if it was daytime, I don't think this happens. My opinion.
Yeah. So you think that this escalated from the beginning of the fact, based off of the fact that he didn't pull over when he really should have. Like, you're looking at it like, all right, had he not pulled over,
time. It's nighttime. He's got time to. You got to think like a cop. He's got time to throw things out the window while you're driving, to dispose of any evidence that could be. It's just little things like that cops, their brains will run wild thinking of all of the possibilities that are about to approach. By no means am I justifying anything that happened in the video or what happened with the officers.
No, you just give perspective.
But to me, if you look at it in that regard, that okay, a cop's gonna try to build a case in their head before they approach the person. Well, why did you drive for 100 seconds? Why did you? There's all sorts of things that just look fishy from a police officer standpoint.
Yeah.
By no means, again, am I saying what they did is correct. I'm just saying that if I look at this, if I did the same thing in a nighttime and drove 2 miles down the road while I'm being pulled over or supposed to be pulled over, I'm not going to have a friendly interaction with a police officer.
Yeah.
Period.
Now, this is where I want to. You got to bring in race. This is where I bring it back to Wylson. Do you think that dare we pose the question if he was not black, or I know he's mixed. I believe he's mixed. Let's say we'll call him minority, right? If he wasn't a minority, do you think that that outcome would have been different?
Well, let's not say minority. Let's say black, because black people are the ones that face this type of cruelty from police officers. I'm not saying other races don't, but let's not construe it. Black people get treated differently.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can't just drill him down to being black because he's mixed. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying a minority right now. Just
he looked black.
But that's besides the point. I'm going
that makes you black in America. Period.
I hear you. What I'm saying is I want to go off the facts of what is out there, right? The fact is that the gentleman is mixed. He's not just black. He's mixed. So we have to classify him as a minority. So in the instincts of a minority, I'm not focusing on just black people being pulled over. I know white people that are pulled over and treated like shit. I know Spanish people that are pulled over. I'm saying in this particular instance, he's a minority. So I'm saying if we have minority, a class of people, and let's just put a whole another class of people, let's say white folks, do you think that the outcome would have been the same is what I'm saying? And think about it, because there's a lot of variables. Like I looked at it from both sides. I looked at this again. I've seen every angle of the video. I've seen the cop angles. I've seen the dashboard view, and then again just speaking to a lot of cops. A lot of them say the exact same thing that Jeff has said. That's why I didn't bring that piece in, because it is important. You have to think about the cop, right? Those cops, regardless of anything. Because if you look at it, the one cop on the right hand side of the first video that comes out, the younger cop, you can see that he was scared. If you really look at his mannerisms, if you can look at how he didn't have that same authoritative figure as the cop that was in charge, right? But you can also see where the kid, you can look at it and see where he did not want a part of it. Like he kept saying, "Look, just get out the car." Like, "Hey, just stop." Like you can see it was a different energy. Do you think that energy would have been the same in the adverse?
Of course not.
So one thing that I can say, even watching the video, when the younger cop went to reach in and grab the seatbelt, the older cops, don't reach in there. So you can tell that the cop is thinking of their safety, because obviously there's a dog in the car. You don't know this man is an officer in the military, so you don't know if this man is armed either, or what you could be reaching into. So that's he instructed him to take off his seatbelt. Now, because this lieutenant is black and Hispanic, he, again, we are being taught we need to do things differently, just to preserve our lives. So had he been a different race, could it have gone differently? Maybe, yes, maybe. But at that point, the cops are already perturbed because they had to drive. You know what I'm saying? But it's such a difficult topic to talk about, because you can't remove race.
Yeah, but hold on, stop there, because this is where, and again, I got to go to race, and this is my point of what I'm trying to get to. You see how Wylson led with, "Yo, he's black in America," right? He looks black in America. The point of that, at least what I got from it, is he got pulled over and felt like he was black in America. That's why he was saying, "Yo, I don't want to get out the car. I'm scared. Yo, I know that this is wrong. I know what's happening here. I'm being treated a certain way, and my stature, my clothing, it means nothing. I'm telling you guys, I'm not a threat. I don't want a problem. I just want to know why I'm being pulled over. I'll give you my paperwork. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. I just need to know what's happening. I'm a little concerned." So yeah, I get your point. Like, I don't want that to go unmissed. I think I think that's what has him go to the gaslight. I mean, go to the lit gas station. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to look at this. I don't know. I don't know whether I can't even say whether he felt like that because he was black or minority, but maybe he just felt like that just because of a lot of the police brutality that's come out.
Well, of course,
You know what I mean? Like this is fresh off of
the
Wilder.
police have a heightened hostility when they approach black people.
Mhm.
So, I think Tariq Nasheed said it best. He said when black people get pulled over by the police, they need to treat it as though they're a hostage of war, because basically that's what you are. Stop trying to talk your way out of it. It's not going to work. They're not here to talk to you. You're not going to change their mind.
Mhm.
So I have a random question, and this can easily be cut if you want. This happened in December. Any instance of this happening previously? We knew about it that same day, that same week. It's just, to me, there's something weird about it coming out 4 months down the road.
And that's my only thing. I was about to say before Wylson made his point is I think I won't even say coincidental. Why is this coming out during the George Floyd trial?
That's where yeah.
That's my thing. And I'm not like, it's just, you got to look at things a little differently these days. Things aren't for coincidence. Things don't just pop out of the news. Like these old ass clips that just keep being released, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. I just wonder, I wonder how that will even impact the trial. You know what I mean? Like, have you guys been watching that trial?
Well, I mean,
Hard to
and
watch.
I've seen some things.
It's hard to watch.
yes,
I
and
mean, it's not really hard to watch. Well, it's not hard to watch for me because I already expected that. Black people are the only people that get killed, and then you get put on trial after your death. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about everything else up before this man kneeling on his neck for over 8 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Okay, so the guy may have had a little bit of fentanyl in the system or whatever else. What does that have to do with this man kneeling on his neck for over 8 minutes while he's handcuffed? Technically, how can you even justify having to restrain somebody using that technique when they're already in handcuffs? By definition, that's what handcuffs are for, to restrain somebody. So he was already restrained.
So that's an amazing point. That's number one. And I want to lean into this. So just for the audience. So obviously, we're going to shift gears and go into the George Floyd trial a little bit because it's obviously just very, very relevant, right? So to Wilson's point, he's apprehended, right? Now, mind you, that's a big guy. As the big guy, did you see the cops that pulled him over? Did you see that? They don't look like they wanted any type of problem with him. I get all of that, right? But let's fast forward to the apprehension. Let's fast forward to him being detained. Again, medically speaking, if your chest cavity specifically is down to the ground, meaning you're at 9 o'clock and a 3 o'clock, chest to the ground, your lungs and your chest cannot expand. It causes suffocation, right? So the fact that this gentleman is now down on the ground at a 9 to 3 position on the floor, handcuffed, and now has a knee, which again looks like the pressure is being put on specifically the part of the neck that is going to also cut off oxygen. Yeah, there's no way for him to do anything. But even outside of that, uh, if you notice, when as he's saying I can't breathe, when he starts to lose consciousness, you see his body purge, meaning he starts to go to the bathroom on himself. That is a clear sign that the body is going. Just so you guys know, if ever you see fights online or you see any even that traffic stop, the moment your body starts to lose oxygen, the moment that starts to happen, your body purges. You're on the way out. Trauma already happens there, so you're aware. Even if they resuscitate him, get him alive, your body starts to purge. You will have some sort of trauma. That's number one. But number two, the fact that the EMTs had to tap this guy to get off him. Hey, you have to move. He's not breathing. Move. it's just hard to watch. It's hard to watch, man. So I think to Jeff's point, you got to look at just when things come out and when things are said and why they're said. Um,
Well, also two things stand out about his apprehension. With George Floyd, he was on his back, handcuffed. You got your knee on his neck,
you mean on his chest? On his chest?
on his chest, and basically, if you're claiming that man was resisting arrest, Derek Chauvin's sunglasses were on top of his head the entire time, never fell off. How much of a struggle was it? That's number one. Number two, at what point, what were they waiting for? At what point do the three of you or four of you cops pick him up and put him in the back of the car?
And put him in the back, fam. At this
point,
point,
what was the plan? The man's not moving. It made no sense. It made no sense.
Yeah.
I don't care
And I
if he
didn't mean to
died
cut
from
you
natural
off.
causes. He shouldn't have died with you on top of him.
Yeah.
I mean, we know he didn't die from natural causes, but you know.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's how I look at the video. Like, I never, I watched just the one video that went viral of the officers on the neck and applying the pressure. I stopped it. This was the first time that I actually watched, like, not only the clips, but like the unreleased footage, the different angles. Like, it's hard to watch, man. It's hard. But the toughest part about this for me, honestly, is the kids. The kids are on trial. Obviously, if you're watching a trial on CNN, they can't show the kids because they're underage. So legally, they can't do that. But if you hear these kids on, like, those kids will never be the same for the rest of their lives. I don't think anybody out there will ever be the same for the rest of their lives having to witness something like that. Even those cops, they'll never be the same, because I'm sure they, like everyone else, watches those videos over and over again. Some of them may think, yeah, we did the right thing. Some of them may think, damn, we could have handled this. Damn, we could have jumped in. Damn, because that's all you hear on trial. All of them say the exact same thing. I didn't see it from that angle. I wish I could have done something. I wish I could have stopped them. I wish I would have done this. I would, like, it's there's just so many different variables to it, to where there was no way that anyone could have done anything to Wilson's point. Like, what can you do? All right, great. You have the professional wrestler dude who I'm sure could have taken them out. You could see he was with the shits. Like, he was on trial. They were saying, hey, did you say he was the officer was a punk? He said, yeah, you heard the tape. Hey, did you say the officer you thought he was assisting, you could have taken him? Yeah, I said it. So when you have somebody like that wanting to get involved, and I'm sure he was giving off that type of energy, I think you would have had not one person on that ground. You would have had multiple people, and that would have went left. It would have went left. So I'm concerned with the outcome of it. I'm concerned with what will happen. You know what I mean? If just people don't feel like justice is served with it. So,
well, what do you think? What do you think justice is served is it all four cops going to jail for life? Is it, because at the end of the day, they're trying them for third degree?
I don't know, man.
So I'm thinking, like, what in a perfect situation, because that's the reason why it's weird to me that the news is starting to pick up on something that happened in December when you're potentially hearing the outcome to this. So we're getting another police issue in the news. So that way, if this doesn't go the way that the populace wants it to, we're looking at another summer of riots and chaos. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it usually doesn't go the way how it's supposed to go. He's probably going to get off, most likely.
Okay, but even still, no, what I'm saying is, in your mind, what would be the correct, like, this concluding correctly?
Well, Derek Chauvin should be put away for life.
I think so. But it's not a possibility. They're not trying him for something that they can put him away.
Well, no, I thought we were speaking hypotheticals.
But we're speaking in a reality hypothetically.
What's the worst punishment that he could face? How many years?
10 years.
10 years.
Already not enough.
So that's why, to me, it's weird that the media is starting to pick back up into this news cycle. So that way, when even if it's the best that they can do based on the legal system, it's not going to be enough
It's
for
not gonna be
everyone.
enough. And that's what I'm thinking. It's like, I don't know how to heal. That was my point of bringing up the kids and everyone that's out there. There's too much that was done with this.
Well, it's not necessarily about healing when there's just going to be another George Floyd.
Yeah, but that's the
It's
thing.
not. It's not. It's not if it's going to happen or not. It always happens.
It does, but that's the thing. We never give ourselves, and we never really even have time to heal.
How can you heal?
I know, but that's my point. It's like you're never really given time. Like, it's bad enough you're watching the George Floyd trial and having to relive all of that shit and everything else in between. And then, to Jeff's point, oh boom, an old 4-month-old clip surfaces of something reminiscent of something just, again, just horrific. You don't really get much time to heal when these things happen so frequently and so aggressively. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know. I don't know what the outcome would be. That's such a good question, Jeff, because now you have my brain. I don't know what would be a resolve at this point, just because from a legal aspect, you're absolutely right. Legally, right now, the ceiling is just 10 years. Like, that doesn't include whether they file civil suits, whether the people that were out there, they can file civil suits and claim emotional trauma. There's so
Well,
many.
the family got 27 million from a civil suit.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I'm not even talking about just the family. I'm talking about like the kids that are on trial now, like or like there was a lot of people out there. Like, if their trial goes south and for them, and they feel like justice was not served, even if this guy is convicted, there's still gonna, there's still gonna be some sort of resentment there. There's still gonna be some sort of something there. I don't know that you'll ever even get a resolve with it. And I mean, not for nothing, 27 million, that's a lot of money. That's great, but uh, can't buy back a loved one.
So
So
Fact.
looking it up a little bit, I just looked it up, and if they're charging him with third-degree murder, if he gets off with third-degree murder and gets a maximum sentence, it could be up to 25 years. But if they charge him with manslaughter, it's considerably less.
See, the problem
Which
is
you
they've already
would,
entered reasonable doubt into the conversation with
yeah,
the camera
camera.
bias.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the thing that I personally think is going to happen is that they're going to have him cop a plea for manslaughter, get him 10 years, and it's not going to be enough.
And be out in less than that. And be out in less than that. That's what I think is gonna happen. I think it was day. I think it was like day 4 where they started to bring in the he was an expert. I can't think of what it was. He was. I can't think of the name, and I don't want to sound stupid, but for lack of a better word, he was like a suffocation expert or some sort of expert to that degree, where he was explaining the breathing patterns and was pretty much saying they were trying to, it was cross-examination at this point, and they were trying to say, well, no, the officer was doing his job. He was taught to lean a certain way, and that's how you detain people. And they showed what how do you pronounce that word?
Preliminary.
Huh?
Uh,
I have a
Preliminary
lisp.
or
I'm
something
not
like that.
pronouncing that. That is a medical term. Yeah, it's a pulmonary.
Pulmonary. There you go.
Yeah, but that was a
Pulmonologist.
pulmonary. Yeah, pulmonologist. Thank you. That's who they brought in. That's such a good word too, pulmonologist. But they brought him in. But long story short, they were saying that during the cross examination, they were saying that the officers are trained to, even if the suspect is down, if you feel like he's a threat, you're supposed to put your knee on because the pressure won't, you have leverage, obviously, right? But the pulmonologist was saying that the way that the officer was laying on the neck and applying pressure on the neck, as again his chest cavity is at a 9 to 3, there's no way that this gentleman was not only a threat but that he could even breathe. And you can see, to Wilson's point, what he was saying earlier about the glasses and his demeanor, how he was leaning on the right hand side of his leg, applying pressure, where he was off on the left, where he was chilling. Like, there was one point in the video again where the woman, I think, is pleading and saying, "Hey, look at him. He can't breathe." And the officer looks down and looks up, and you can see him dig his knee in a little bit more. So, I mean, they could go for manslaughter, which I honestly, if I'm being keeping it a buck, I do think that they're gonna go for that. It's the easiest plea to go for. He'll get 10, serve less than that, maybe. Not even maybe. He'll serve less than that, and he'll be in Witsec or whatever, and that's how that story will play out. I think I don't see this ending well, and just because I get the defense's method of trying to poke a hole in the cinematography aspect with the camera angles. So, but yeah. But Jeff is out of here too. Peace, Jeff. Thank you for joining us again today.
We'll see you guys next weekend.
Yep.
All right, brother.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a few other things we wanted to cover today that came out though on a much lighter note. First and foremost, Wylson, you can take this with Kanye. Kanye is in the news, which I'm excited about this news too.
Well, before I get into that, let me talk about Kanye's man, Kid Cudi, wearing a dress on SNL. Not cool, Kid Cudi. So on the Kanye, Kanye basically got offered $30 million to do a documentary. Well, for his documentary that's been in the works for the past 20 years. $30 million to Kanye right now is like a drop in the water, man. Drop in the ocean. My man's a $6 billion heir.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a dope documentary though, man. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things like that happen like behind the scenes that we didn't get a chance to see. Like I want to see stuff that may have happened behind the scenes as far as like his campaign goes. I know that people are tired of keeping up with the Kardashians, but I'd like to keep up with the West in this documentary. Personally, I'd like to see some of that behind the scenes footage and also just some of the things that he went through, coming up.
Yeah.
Especially with like Amber Rose and before. He probably has some dope footage dealing with the Taylor Swift debacle.
That's the only thing. If I'm keeping it a buck, that's all I want to see. I want to see what really happened with that piece because again, still to this day, they both are saying the exact same thing. Kanye says, "Yo, we had a conversation. You knew about the record. Stop lying." Taylor Swift says, "I didn't know about the record. I was completely blindsided while my album was coming out." So there's two different ways that you could look at this.
Well, she knew about the record. I'm not going to defend Taylor Swift, but I will give her. I'll throw her a small bone. She was kind of correct in that because when Kanye had pitched it to her, he didn't tell her that the word bitch was going to be in there or something. Because I think he referred to her as a bitch in the actual
record, yeah.
But when he had recited it to her over the phone, I don't think they said it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, she shouldn't be so uptight. Like, relax. Well, relax, Taylor.
The woman doesn't want to be called a bitch.
Yeah, but Kanye made you famous, so.
Oh my God!
Come on.
Yeah, I'm curious.
For me, I'm pretty. This is Ande, by the way. So for me, I'm pretty excited to see like the stuff that went behind the scenes with the Dark Twisted Fantasy. One because that was like I remember getting that album on my birthday, and that was like the first time I had it where it was like cardboard and it like pulled out, and it was just like a unique way of unboxing music for that time. So to see more behind the scenes of that and just like the whole creative process, I'm really interested and excited to see what it's about.
I agree with Ande. Kanye West is an innovator. This man. I mean, hey, man, if we thought that we saw the genius on display in front of us, imagine what we didn't see.
Oh my God. It's
gonna be magical, man.
Wait, Wylson, I got a question for you. So,
yes, sir.
What era of Kanye are you looking forward to seeing the most? Like, let's say we combine the first three albums. We call that the college era. Then he moves on to the 808s and Heartbreaks era. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Then you got the Yeezus era. I guess you can maybe combine that with the Life of Pablo because it was just sporadic, like in your face. The rollouts were messy, but it built up a lot of excitement. And I guess to his Christian era now, like which era are you looking forward to seeing the most?
I want to see the building the Yeezy clothing brand era. You know what I'm saying? Because out of everything, that was his most successful venture. Even though it springboards off of his music and everything, he's been able to keep that going and make it larger, even though he's not putting out as much music as he used to. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see like what he's doing behind the scenes with that, because even when you look at, I think it was GQ when he did that interview and he had all the Yeezys that were unreleased all laid out.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah. That was crazy. I want to see like what else he has just like behind the scenes and everything. The music is the music. I mean, if I'm being, modest for Kanye, the guy's a god when it comes to music. Let's keep it 100. Challenge me.
You be modest for Kanye's.
Challenge it.
I don't know that you could even say that word in the same sentence with Kanye and you and anything with him.
That man doesn't miss. But yeah, no, he doesn't miss. Let's not get into this. We're
not doing this. We're not doing this.
Let's
today.
not do this.
I'm a Kanye fan too. You are just a stand on another level.
Let's not do this
with you. I can look at him objectively. You love him to the death.
No, you want to know what it is? It's funny. Everybody calls me a stand. It's just
hold on.
Listen. Hold on. Let me explain this. Hold on. Let me explain this. I'm going to be very honest. I bet on Kanye every time. Never lose. I'm a betting man. Okay.
You're not a betting man though.
Every single time I bet on Kanye, I win.
That's not true.
He starts doing Christian music. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Then he's a billionaire. I bet on Kanye all the time and I win. I don't understand how people don't come with me on this.
So all I'm saying is it fair to say that because you're a loyalist to Kanye, that you are a stan of Kanye? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
By the way.
I get the definition of stan, but I would hope that we're all stans of someone.
No, you're not stan. You're not like stan, from stan.
No, listen, I don't take the term stan as an insult. I don't know why people do. I think hold on.
But there's levels to stand them. There's levels to stand them.
Well, ain't how you put it. Any level of stan. I feel
like. Right, so are you waiting outside Kanye's house?
Listen, everyone should be a stan of someone.
You would wait outside Kanye's house?
No, why would I do that?
I wouldn't do that. No, you would. Don't try to take it back. You would.
You paused. Listen, I'm a Royce the 5'9" stan. When we met Royce,
and we saw that played out. I
didn't fan out.
No, you didn't. That's what I'm saying. You were the complete opposite. I was mad at you.
I'm cool as a fan.
Yeah,
cool
you were too cool.
Baby.
You were too cool. You were too cool though.
It wasn't too cool. I pick my spots.
Got it.
But as far as Kanye goes, or anybody, this goes for you guys on the panel as well. Mm-hmm. You guys aren't a stand for anybody. If you're not, I feel sorry for you. You have to have someone to look to eclipse one day in some type of way.
Yeah, to Wilson's point,
there's got to be a bar.
I'm probably how he is with Kanye. I'm the same way with Drake. So like, it's like there are levels to it. So I feel I understand you 100%. But my other point too was that to also Wilson's point, they already confirmed. Kris Jenner has confirmed that they're going to be talking about the divorce on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But I would like to see it more from his perspective, because they have their shit scripted out and the way it's supposed to be for them to look good. But with Kanye, that he's always the bad guy and he's always looked down upon. I want to see mainly his point of view.
And also, I'm glad that you just now brought up Kim. She just recently was announced. She just recently became a billionaire as well. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kanye.
Oh my God.
I'll say it for her. Thank you, Kanye.
Oh my God. It's not.
Thank you.
Yeezy taught her. Yeezy taught her.
Yeezy taught her. First off, when the man got with her, he changed her wardrobe, right? And then all of a sudden, you know what really made her rich? Aside from I guess she was doing makeup or whatever, the Skims line. And that Skims line clearly is Kanye influence. It's simple. It's Kanye.
Yeah. 100%.
Thank you, Kanye.
That's so Yeezy too. So
Yeezy taught her.
Oh my God. All right. Is there anything else we need to cover before we get out of here?
I mean, there's those couple of shows we were talking about. If we wanted to talk about that.
Nah, I'm not plugging those yet. We didn't get an ad for those. I want to wait first. Plus, like I said, I'm very big on. Anyone who knows me, I can't watch seasons or show without there having a few seasons to binge on. I never really get vested into one season shows, even though, all right, I'll give them one. I'll give them one, Ande. You're right. I'll give them one. The show on Netflix, Who Killed Sarah? It's it's amazing. It's a dubbed Euro show. It's a murder mystery. It's really, really good. It starts off very slow, similar to WandaVision. It gives a lot of backstory, but you have to pay attention because all of that shit matters. The storyline is really, really good. I would advise putting closed captions on just because, again, it is dubbed, so the voices are off from the lip sync. But it's really, the storyline is really, 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 really good. I'm impressed with it. So that's pretty much where I'm at. But even outside of that, before we get out of here, there's a few. There was one other thing I wanted to touch on. I know I'm gonna forget it. It always happens that way. We'll cover it next week. It never matters. But outside of that, I'm happy we got through this episode. This I was really worried about this episode, and you guys know this. This was a really tough episode, so I'm hoping you guys are keeping your heads up. And even to the audience, keep your heads up. Stay strong. Be positive, uplift your fellow man and woman. Also, stay true to yourself. That said, we want you guys to have a great rest of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Be sure to click subscribe, comment. Be sure to also hit the YouTube up, hit the comments up. Let us know what you guys thought about the topics, your perspectives on all of the topics that we covered on today's episode. I want to thank our new guests and special guests. Ande, thank you. This is your first time. Welcome to the show, to the program, to the team. Salute to you. Also, to everyone else that joined for today. And as always, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification button, be notified for your latest to the greatest episodes, as well as to get tuned, get down, and join our Discord, which is growing. It's growing. It's growing. And then that said, I feel like there was one more thing. Yeah, what I want to do too, one more thing, the last thing really quickly was really just when Nas comes back next week, I do want to get Nas's perspective a little bit, not to rehash. I do want to get his perspective on it because we have yet to talk about it. Nas has been busy moving and doing a whole plethora of things with his life. So we'll talk to him next week. And outside of that, that is it. That's where we at. Go on there.
Real quick, I just seen this and I seen this morning. I want to talk about it. Uh, if anybody cares, Detroit, the first mixtape is coming to streaming services. It's being mixed right now.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Go get that mixtape. That shit should be really, 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 really dope. If you've never it like wait, hold on. Now I'm thinking about it. Is it when is the date for that? Now I'm thinking about it. When did they say it's gonna come back to streaming?
I don't know like the date, but I seen his story and he was playing the song with him and Janae that they first made together, and
Okay.
it said that and he said that it was coming out, but they were mixing it now.
So that's so really quickly. And I know we said we were gonna get out of here, but I noticed that not last week, but the week before last, they re-released Janae's album. Um
Yeah, the
it
mixtape,
can't
Sailing Souls.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
ceiling. Yeah, but it came out under an alias. I'll send it. I'll send it to you guys. It came out under alias number one, and then the album artwork, everything was different. But when you went to go click it, it wouldn't play. So I don't know if that was a error. I don't know what was happening. I'll send it to you guys, but it was a completely different album, completely different everything. It was still her vocals and everything, but it wasn't listed as Janae. It was weird, but that's it.
Yeah.
That said, though, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Brandon Killabh Hall.
I'm Wilson.
I'm the King
Uh,
of Anarchy, aka Tone.
Ande.
And of course, Chris, and you guys know Civ is always here. He's just never saying anything. He's here as always. That said, enjoy. We out. Chris, oh, where's Nas when you need him? Chris, not hello.
Grassroots.